Hello, here is a short tutorial to showcase some of the new features of ClearPay 2.0. So as you can see, we've completely revamped and transformed the entire dashboard. So we've added some AI insights and we've redesigned the cards to make it more intuitive, to provide you more information on your financial health. We've added things like bill pay insight and revenue overview, financial summary. You get a lot of tips from AI as well. So ideally, what the focus of this video is just to kind of show you how you accomplish some of the things that you used to accomplish in the past, but because we've moved things around, I feel it's necessary for me to create a new video. Now, the starting point of everything that we do, if you can remember from the last version, is that we need to sort of create a template for everyone so that we can sort of figure out how much we're charging each child. And I can quickly show you how that is now done. So to get this done now, what we need to do is there are two ways to do this actually. So I'll show you the first way is to navigate to people, click on bill payer, and you can click on adding a new bill payer. So this is similar to what we used to do in the past where we were adding customers, right? You add their information. I'm just going to say this is a test, this test, and I would have a dummy phone number there. And I think we now have a new space here to capture the address, but this is not necessary. So let's just go and proceed. And you can now get to add a new student. So before we call them beneficiaries, but now we're calling them students. So just to be consistent, so we have a consistent terminology with your business. So if I click on add student, I can easily add the name of child here, test one. And what I can also do here is I get to select the academic session, and also I select the class they're in. So we weren't selecting the academic session before, so we were having some problems promoting children from class to class, but now we have that feature here. So this allows us to sort of tie the starting point of a child's journey to a specific academic session. So I'll click on next. And as you can see, it gives us this is where we now get to create the template. So there are two ways to create the template. The first way, as part of creating the bill payer, you can also add the templates, right? So this is really nice, really slick. I can click on uncheck here, and as I uncheck each section, it starts to calculate the total for me. So in this particular instance, I'll select nursery 1, levy, and textbook, or maybe uniform. So I've actually built this template and I can save it. So this new student, or this new, what I've actually been able to do now, I've created a student and I've also created a parent, and they now have their template configured already. So however, there is another way to do this. You can go directly to a student tab, which we didn't have before. So if I were to select student, I can see that same student here, and I can click on their profile, and I get the option to edit their template. So the same template that I just configured, I can come here and say, you know what, this is no longer required. I can take this off, I can remove, or I can add stuff to it, right? So two ways to do the same thing. And if you want to edit for a template from a previous session, you have the option to select. But for this particular school, test school, we only have one academic session. So let me close this out. So yeah, so first step is done. We have a student. The next step is we need to create an invoice for them. The invoice, the way we create the invoices have actually changed quite a bit. It's a lot more intuitive, and I think it's a lot more flexible than we had before. Before it was so rigid. Once you create an invoice, you're stuck with your selection, but things have actually changed drastically now. So I'll show you that. So if I navigate to the invoice page, I have two ways similar to the previous version. I can create a manual invoice, or I can create an automated invoice. So automated invoice, if I select this, not only do I have two options, I can do a lot more than I was able to do before. So I can either say I want to do this by class, or I want to do this by parent. So if I just need one parent that I want to create a batch invoice for, this will pick up all of their beneficiaries or all of their wards, and attach them all to that invoice. So let me just create a batch name. So test one, batch name, and I can select my due date. So this is also now a lot more intuitive and it's flexible. You can, before I think was you guys were stuck on 7 days after the issuance of the invoice. Now you can select whatever due date appeals to your use case. Now, I can select the academic session here, and I can select the term that I want to bill for. And if I have any notes, I can add the notes here, and I can save this note as templates. If you have a note, a footer that you add to all your invoices, this is where you get to create them. So you add them, you save it as a template. The next time you come back here, you just select that same template and you reuse it if you like, right? So that's already done. So I don't have any template now, so we're just going to proceed. So let me quickly just take you through the class journey. If I go to class, the next thing you see here is the option to continue by class, and you can specify the classes that you want to invoice for. And if I want to go back, I can select by parent. Let me go ahead and pick on that parent that we've just created. So this test, do a quick search, find the parent, configure, I'll continue to profile, and then you can see that child now. So in nursery one. Now, another neat feature that we have here is you now have the option to expand on this. And even at the point of creating the invoice, you can remove items. Like for whatever reason, you don't want to add levy, you can remove that levy. And if you want to add a new item, this basically brings back the actual invoice template for that class. So you can add a new item. And I believe you should be able to add your discounts here too, but I'll come back to this in a second. So, and now you get to create a batch. Now, I'm not sure if you noticed from the last version, when you run a batch invoice, everything is done synchronously. So that means that you have to wait for it to finish. But what we've done now is it's all running asynchronous. So that means that you can run 500 invoices. You just send it as a job. You can go and do whatever you want, come back after 2 hours, and everything is all done. So if you have the slow internet speed, you don't need to worry. It just queues the job and does it for you in the background. And you can go off and do anything else on the system. You don't have to be stuck to that one page. So I'm going to go ahead and generate this one invoice. I have just one invoice, so it shouldn't take too long. Right. So now I have an invoice. It's in draft state, and I can click on that invoice to view the invoice, right? So now these are all the items, all broken down by category, total amount, and I can now send the invoice. So I click on send invoice, and I have multiple ways of sending now, unlike before. So I can send SMS. I can just save this as sent. So as an example, what I'm doing is when I'm migrating schools from the previous version to the latest version, what I'm actually doing is I'm saving this as sent so that I'm not resending invoices to parents who've already received an invoice on the older version. So I have that option here. And you can send via SMS and email. If I have email configured for this person, I would have that option. However, all I have is a phone number, so I can check that. But for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to save as sent. And that's done. So that invoice has now gone out, right? So like I said, you can create 500 invoices. You can send them all at once. You can review them when you're ready, select all the invoices, send them, save them as draft, and you can come back and review again and send. So that pretty much goes for sending invoices. This is the latest, the newest way for doing it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a payment. So to add a normal payment, a manual payment is as simple as clicking on here and saying how much was received into the bank account. So let's say I received 100,000. So now you have two ways of distributing that amount. Because we're now tied into an accounting code now, we need to sort of distribute the amount across all the items, right? So you can either say, okay, we've issued an invoice for this person and they have 4 items. What do we want the system to do? We could say distribute equally across all items. So basically like this 167K will be split across levy, tuition, textbook, uniform, and all that good stuff. Or I can say, you know what, I know exactly what I want to use this money for. So I want to apply that to a specific item. So I can say I want to basically use this 100K to apply to tuition, or 75K, since the tuition is only 75K. I can say that, and I'll take the next one. I'll apply that to the levy, and I can say, for this uniform, I'm just going to partially pay something there. So I'll say, let me pay 10,000 for this uniform, out of this uniform, and then you can select your bank account. So this is your school bank account where you receive the payment in, and you can go ahead and click on record payment. And that's it. So you can skip that as well. We're done. So ultimately what we've done here is we've recorded a payment. You've got a lot more in terms of audit trail. So you can see as you record this payment, this is captured here manually, automatically, sorry, as an activity. And if you click on the payment history, it shows exactly how that payment was applied, and which is also showing on the accounting dashboard and all the accounting reports and all that good stuff. So you can also send a receipt once they've made a payment. You can click on send a receipt. I don't think we had this before. All we had, the option we had before was to download receipt, but this now you can send a receipt as well too. You have the option to send that via SMS, email, and or you can do both as well. So you have that option as well, and then you can still download the receipt like we were doing in the past. So let's see what this looks like. Okay, so receipts. So basic payment. This is payment date, payment references, bank account you paid into, the amount that was paid. So if you have multiple line items as well, so you would have a lot more here. And so that's the receipt. Normally, this school doesn't have a logo, but what you would see is the logo of your school, all customized and bespoke for your school. Similar to the old receipt, but a bit cleaner. Let's take a look here. What else can I show? So I think this is enough to sort of get you started to get you to understand how the system works. I think I'll delve into more detailed videos, or I can delve into how we create our new class structure later on. If I don't think we need to do that, because a lot of you guys already are on the system, so that's already been created, and this is something that we normally do for you. And I can delve into other things as well in the future, like bill payer here. You can zero in to bill payer. You can see everything that's happening. They also have a ledger that they didn't have before. So account ledger here, because they now have access to an app, you can generate a temporary OTP code for them, and that would allow them to be able to access the app as well too. So you've got your credit balance here. So if they're paying in advance, or if the payment they've made exceeds the actual invoice amount, it gets recorded on their profile as a credit, and their virtual account, if they have a virtual account, that will show up here. So this is kind of supposed to be a short tutorial, but I think it's probably gone on for like 5 minutes, but it's all good. Watch this. Let me know if you have any questions, and do circle back, and I'll be happy to assist. Thank you very much.